You know how the saying goes, Jack of all trades, master of none, but many people don't know the full quote is actually a jack of all trades is a master of none, but oftentimes better than a master of one. If there's any filmmaker I know who fits the person described in this quote, it is Loukman Ali. If he directs a film, then he most likely also wrote it, shot it, and edited it. His first feature film, Girl in the Yellow Jumper, was the first Ugandan film to get on Netflix. Earlier this year, he was announced as one of the 6 finalists in the Netflix-UNESCO short film competition. Around the same time, he came to Nigeria to direct Brotherhood, a film produced by Jade Osiberu. In this episode, we talk about Loukman's journey, the Ugandan film industry, and his lessons from making Girl in the Yellow Jumper. As these things usually go, I'm going to start by asking you, what's your origin story?
Origin?
Yep.
Like who am I?
Yeah, who are you? We know Loukman, the filmmaker. What was your journey to, filmmaking? Why filmmaking? All of that jazz.
I think every time I get that question, I'm always actually wondering to myself, do I really know who I am? I don't know if I'm the only one that gets that a lot, but most times I do wonder myself, like, who am I really,
Yeah. And then what's the answer you come to?
I don't know. I think there's a me that I know on the inside, and then there's like the me that I portray on the outside. And it's quite different. Like most of the times I try so much to not let the me out because I feel like the actual me is a little bit inappropriate.
But okay,
yeah, so,
let's forget the outside you first off. Give us a glimpse at the inside you.
The inside me is a guy that just hates rules. And I just want to do things the way I want to, which is I don't know if it's probably a terrible thing, but
you're a rebel.
I'm like, yeah, like I don't know why, but I just hate anything that I'm supposed to do, So if let's say I'm supposed to wake up at 10. I don't want to wake up at 10 simply because someone says I have to wake up at 10. But if they were to say you should wake up at 11, then I'm like, then I'll wake up at 10, So I don't know. It's a bit childish, but that's why
I don't think it's necessarily childish because I think I'm a bit like that. I may not be like as rebellious as you are, but I think I'm a bit like that. But then talking about rebellion, do you think that has affected the kind of filmmaker that you are?
Yeah, it has. It has. I tend to do. My interest is really in the kind of films that I grew up watching. And unfortunately, I didn't really grow up on a lot of African film. I grew up mostly on American cinema. And every time I'm thinking about a movie, that's kind of what I see. So I'm in a world now where if I make a film that kind of looks like an American film, is a backlash. Oh my God, you're trying to copy, blah, blah, blah. Why don't you be original? And I'm always like, yeah, that's just what I want. I don't really care if it's original. If you want to make plays about Shakespeare, you're not Shakespeare, but that's what you want, and that's fine. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I don't know if that answers anything.
Yeah, it does. I mean, the fact that you're gonna do you regardless of what anyone thinks. Yeah, I mean that sounds like that definitely sounds like a rebel. But then, do you think that? I mean, at what point in your life did you start thinking about, making films? I know you've mentioned that you grew up watching American films and stuff, but at what point did you think that, maybe you should be making films?
I think around the time I keep confusing this. Maybe it was around 5 or 8, but I watched a war film, And I think it was the very first time I'd watched a movie, because I'd seen like regular TV programming, stuff like that. But then I think my parents took me somewhere, and as they were having a conversation with whoever this person was, there was a film that was playing on their television. We had a black and white TV, but this person had a color TV. And I watched a film, I think it might have been We Were Soldiers or The Thin Red Line, one of those films. And I was blown away. Like, I had never seen anything like that in my life. Like, that was a very, 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 very crazy experience. I was thinking, what is this? What's this thing that I'm seeing? And that from that point on, I just kept asking my dad about movies and what does, like, how do I do this? How can I be a filmmaker? All that stuff. Yeah, and that's pretty much how I think I entered the world of cinema, through a lot of curiosity, asking my dad, my poor father, who doesn't know anything about filmmaking, is just a regular guy, and he had to like try and explain to me what it all meant. Yeah, I think that was my first what's the word, like, entrance into the whole thing.
I find that interesting because similarly, I think I came to film, from that same child's curiosity. Like, I would watch movies as a kid. My mom used to watch a lot of these Hallmark movies. And for some reason, I just kept on thinking about, how do they make these things happen? Who's working behind the scenes that's making all of this, magic happen? Because it did feel magical.
Yeah.
From when you were a kid to your first film project, what was your first film project? And how old were you then? Was it like a short film? Was it, what kind of video was it? What kind of project was it?
My very first film was a short film called Monday. I for a long time I wanted to make films, but I couldn't afford to do it because it's quite expensive to make movies. So once I had enough money to buy a camera, I bought the Blackmagic cinema camera, the 2.5 one, and at that point I knew that this is it. I'm going to be a filmmaker now.
That was your first camera?
Yeah, that was my first video camera. I had a photography camera that I had purchased a few months before, but I wasn't really making anything like cinema with that, because I always felt like it just couldn't handle what I wanted.
When was that you made your first short film?
It must be I'd have to check when I released that. It must have been like 8 years ago.
Oh, that was a long time ago. Okay.
8. I'm not pretty sure. I'm terrible with like numbers, remembering numbers and anything like that.
Yeah.
But I think it's either 6 or 8.
How was your first short film? How did it turn out?
It's surprisingly well. I when I did that, I felt like, you know what, maybe I might be good at this.
Okay.
Yeah, but then I did my second one, which was also kind of like okay. I think after that I thought that, I think I have this whole thing figured out.
Yeah.
And that's when I went into doing my feature film, and then I got kind of like an awakening that you're actually not good at this.
Oh wow, that went south real quick. So I mean, between your first short film and your first feature film, how many years was that? What happened, within that period? How do you think you grew or not grow as a filmmaker? I'm really, 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 really bad at remembering dates,
but it's easier for me to track it like on YouTube, because I can see when I uploaded my film, and that's how I track that. But the once I finished my short film, my very first short film, I did that when I was living in Norway. Yeah, so when I came back to Uganda, I started. I was doing commercials mostly, because that's like a business close enough to what I like doing, which is filmmaking. So I was quite hyped to do that. Make money from something that I like, which is film. So I started making TV commercials, and I shot my second short film, which is The Bad Mexican, and that was all right. It was mostly visual. I didn't really write a script. I just kind of like made bullet points. But it kind of showed me, it showed me that I could actually do this. If I fixed a few things, I could probably do this. So during the process of making that, I realized that, maybe I need to actually write something so that it's not just in my head. Everyone else knows what I'm trying to do. And I started writing a short film that later I decided to turn into a feature film, which turned out to be Girl in the Yellow Jumper. And at that point, I realized that, oh shit, it's actually quite hard to make films.
Yeah.
And then I went back to making short films.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you mentioned commercials, right? Like you've been making commercials, and I could see that on your page. Is that because the Ugandan film industry isn't as developed for you to make, as much money as you would making commercials, or
is that?
I'm actually, and only until recently, I'd never made a single coin from film projects. Yeah, so it's really something that I would do on the weekends when, like when I'm done with my real work, which is doing the commercials.
But why do you think the Ugandan film industry, isn't as rewarding as, it should be, or as developed as it should be?
I think perhaps the issue might be because there's just isn't the economy itself. It's a relatively new industry. We've had a lot of theater happening, and for a while that actually worked for a lot of people. But film is kind of a relatively new medium for us, and because of how people look at our films, they think our films are really, really, really bad, and it's hard to sell a product that 90% of your market thinks is awful. Like, regardless of what you do, you might make a better film, but still, no one is going to believe that it's actually a good film.
Yeah,
because they're not going to give it a chance to watch it in the first place, and like they just have this this notion that it's just simply sucks.
We deal with a bit of that in Nigeria as well, to be honest. So I get that.
With these short films that I'm doing, it's really more like just trying to show people that we're trying to improve. So maybe you should support us. Maybe you should support us. So yeah.
Yeah, I get that. But I mean, your films look really good. Your films, I mean, the ones I've seen, and it makes me wonder, because I know that it's not just one person that makes a film, obviously. So it makes me wonder about your crew, right? So how do you find people to work with?
I tend to so what during my time in Norway, I had a lot of free time because of the working hours in Europe. The hours are just like too good.
Yeah.
So I had a lot of time on my hands, just doing stuff, just learning online and practicing all these different things. So with my background in drawing, graphics design, there I am sitting in office for all these hours learning how to do animation. Then buying my first camera. I'm living in a foreign country. I'm all by myself. So now I have to shoot movies by myself. If I'm lucky to get an actor, that's good. But then everything else I have to do it myself, audio, all these things. So of course, all that stuff is going to be bad. But in the process of trying to improve these things, I'll find that I have to do so many different tasks. Of course, you're not going to be good at all of them, but you're going to be good enough to know why you're not good, like why it's not working.
Mm-hmm.
So because of that, when I got back to Uganda, I came back with that whole spirit that I think we're going to make like a team, a massive team, and we're going to do all this thing and going to blow away everyone's mind. And when I came back home, I quickly realized that most people are really interested in like the glamour of a film set, like just taking pictures and being around and posting hashtag set life, but they weren't really interested in the work itself, because I would end up being the only one. Like first day there's so many people, but then as the days go by, find yourself being the only one. So because of that, I quickly learned that I had to do most of these things myself. So it took a couple of years. I'm a perfectionist, so everything, even things I didn't know, I would try to look up tutorials and try to learn as much as I can and how to do them and how to do a better job. And as they say, with practice, you just end up getting better at things. And now that I have a team, at least not yet, I don't necessarily rely that much on a team, because I've always done everything myself, and most of the times I'm very, very, especially now that most of my projects don't have that much money, I am very much afraid of people like abandoning me halfway. So because of that fear, I always at the back of my mind, I know that at some point this might all just fall back on me, and I'm always prepared for that. But of course I have some guys that are quite essential to what I do, and of course there's always those guys. But I try so much to be as self-sufficient as possible, to avoid issues of people just not, because sometimes people just want you to fail. I don't know why, but it happens.
I get that. This takes me back to a short film I made where I directed it, I co-wrote it, I shot it, and I managed the sound myself. Like I was the entire film crew. It was during the COVID, lockdown periods and stuff. And I was telling myself, okay, it's a good way to, limit the number of crew and everything. I got some help later, but but I know what that is like. So back to Girl in the Yellow Jumper. Why did you make that film? Was it just because you needed to make a feature film?
I actually, every time I'm doing like a pitch, and I have to answer that question, like, why am I making this film? I'm always confused. I'm always thinking, do I need a reason?
I get that.
Yeah, like I don't think I personally, I don't really think I need a reason. Like sometimes I make a film because sometimes I'm thinking of an idea and there's a reason why I'm thinking about this idea. But most of the time, I just get this really cool idea. And I'm like, oh my God, someone needs to see this. Or it's kind of like the same way I would just be sitting at home and I look at a very, very interesting photograph and I'm like, I have to draw this. I don't really have a reason. It's not like I'm trying to save the planet or whatever, but it's just something that I feel like I have to do. Mostly because if I don't, I just lose my mind. I don't know if I think artists can relate to that feeling of just feeling like it needs to be done and you have to do it and you can't really explain why, but it just has to be done, you know? Yeah. So a lot of times that's how it is. That's how I feel. And I don't know how to explain it. I don't know how, you know? But now for Girl in the Yellow Jumper, I promised myself when I was like really, really little, I was like, I will make a feature film before I'm 30. And I was like fast approaching 30 by the time I made Girl in the Yellow Jumper. Like it was like just knocking on the door. And I have this fear of failing to do the thing that I said I'm going to do. Like if I say I'm going to make a film, then by God, I'm going to make that film. Like I'm just so terrified of failing to do it, because then I'll never be able to make anything. If I failed to create that, then, you know, like no one will believe me next time. No one will think that I can actually do it. Everyone will think, yeah, he always says that, but then nothing happens. So because of that reason, I was like, it has to get done. Whether I mean, I don't care if I do it all by myself alone. Thank God I didn't have to, but yeah, that was the idea. It's going to happen with or without anyone's help. Yeah, and that's just kind of like who I am as a person. I don't like not like fulfilling promises. Like I said, I'm going to do this, and then I failed. You know.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah,
I get that.
So yeah.
I mean, all the different elements of the film, the girl in the yellow jumper, the serial killer angle to it. Like, what brought those ideas to your mind? Was it a show you were watching? Like, can you remember how those ideas came to you? I'm just really curious about that. So,
about the serial killer, there's a story that I've always wanted to tell. This is something that actually happened in Uganda, like some years back. I think it must have been the 80s or something, where a guy just came back to revenge for his family. So most of his family died of AIDS, but during the time, AIDS was a relatively new disease that no one really understood. So people thought it was witchcraft. So this guy's family died because of that, and he thought that someone actually killed them through witchcraft, and because of that, he just went on a crazy revenge mission to just kill everyone. Wow. And I thought that story was so interesting, but I couldn't tell it because I figured it's probably going to be too expensive to create. So I made the next best thing, which was to kind of pick out elements from that and just use them in something else. And as for the Girl in the Yellow Jumper idea, I was making the film. You have to remember that I'm a very, very visual guy. So most of the reasons are, even for the name, it's a visual reason. It's called the Girl in the Yellow Jumper because the girl was wearing a yellow jumper, and I just thought that, okay, yeah, I'll just call the movie The Girl in the Yellow Jumper because she's kind of the one that sets off all these events. And yeah, yellow looks cool.
Is that like your favorite color or something?
Not necessarily. I kind of like all colors, but I find that it's easier to use that, especially with the nature of architecture we have here, like the buildings, the colors we have here, it just kind of pops with the people, the skin tones, and I've always just had bits of it in everything I do. Maybe I do like it, and I just don't know that I do.
Yeah. So what was the budget for your film, and did you fund it all by yourself?
Yeah, I funded. Oh, well, I got some help, but the budget was around maybe 20,000 or 40. Oh, sorry, 20 or 30,000 around there.
US dollars.
This was a film that was. Yeah, this is a film that was done like, I don't know how to even explain it. It's like one day we're shooting and then another day we're not shooting because there's no money. So it's really not like we had a budget set and then started shooting. It's more like we have some money today, so let's go and shoot. So I think at some point I lost count of how much money we were spending.
Wow.
Yeah, not very professional, I know, but yeah.
No, I totally get that, especially for like a first project and it's all you and you have to, and it feels like you're kind of winging it and all that. But then working like that, how long did it take you to shoot the film?
We shot the film, it took us like maybe 3 weeks.
Okay.
3-4 weeks. But get that 3 weeks and spread it out in a year.
Okay, I get that. So, what was your pre-production process like? I mean, from writing to location scouting, all that. Just tell me a bit about that.
Well, most of it was I just drew some storyboards because I'm quite good at drawing.
Did you storyboard every single scene?
Yeah, I storyboarded the entire thing.
Wow.
Yeah, because since we had no money, that was like the easiest way to like get it done. Like remember I was working mostly by myself, so I didn't really have anyone to like remind me if I missed a shot, all that stuff. So I had to like have storyboards that I would revisit every time I was unsure. Yeah, but again, when you have no money, it's just everything just sucks. The backdrop to this is like I am terrified of failing at something I promised to do. Like if I said I'm going to do something, and then I fail to do it, that's like the worst thing that can happen. So when we're working on the film, and then someone doesn't show up, then in my head I'm thinking, oh my God, they're probably trying to sabotage my project. I won't let that happen. So I would just think of an alternative. Maybe I should get a body double and shoot this. Maybe I should do this. So in the end, I changed the story quite a lot, which may have affected the final product in the end.
So, I mean, you were changing the story like as you were shooting?
Yeah, pretty much.
But I mean, thinking back, do you think like there was any other way you could have solved some of the problems you had, without changing the story?
I think given my situation, maybe not.
Okay. But do you think you would have made a better film if you had more resources?
Definitely. If I had even slightly more money, not like a lot, but slightly more, it would have been a way better project. It would have been massively better because it's not like I didn't know what I was doing.
Mm-hmm.
I knew pretty much all the things that I need to know, like film language, what exactly I needed. But where I say I had no idea was kind of like how to manage everything and how to get everything done. I just didn't know how to effectively get everything,
If you were going to make that film today, what would be different? What would you do differently?
I guess I would plan things better. I would do a lot more vetting of the people that I work with, because I think since sometimes we tend to project ourselves on other people and think that they must be like us since we're doing the same job. And I quickly realized that it's actually not the case. Like, we're all different. I'm the kind of guy that will spend whatever, like I'll just do whatever it takes to have the thing done. But then there are many people that are not like that, and they're just not willing to like go through all that just for a film. But I was like willing to like not sleep, willing to like so much. And I think sometimes that takes a toll on other people. And then you just end up losing everyone. So if I was to do that now, I think I would have like try to have like a producer who just kind of like manages people's expectations and everything, so that like I wouldn't want to be the guy that talks to everyone. I would have a producer, I'd have a producer that takes care of everyone else's needs, kind of like a middleman, so that I don't have to do all that work.
Yeah. So I mean, it sounds like your film set was most likely eventful. I'm sure a lot of stuff went wrong, but what is the biggest story for you? Like, because I mean, there's always a crazy story on every set. So I'm curious, what's the craziest thing that happened on set?
I think for that question to make sense, we'd have to ask what happened on day one, what happened on day two, because I think we had a crazy thing happening on every single day of the shoot.
Well, which one stands out for you?
I think maybe like four things stand out for me. We had this action car that you see in the movie, the one that they're driving.
Yeah.
And the plan I had was we were going to have it be like towed. So it was going to be pulled by another car. So it was going to be like on a flatbed. So I have someone, my gaffer, look for a flatbed that we can use. And I never look at this flatbed. I'm just going by his word that it's a nice flatbed and it will work. And then he also got for me a car that we'll be using as a station, because we're going to shoot in a very kind of rural area, right? So I'm thinking, I'll see it when I see it. He gets us this really, really old Volkswagen van. We drive to go and pick up this. This is the very first day we're going to shoot. We drive to pick up this flatbed. So we get to pick up the flatbed, and it's like one of those flatbeds that you'd find at the back of a truck. So it's a very, very, very long flatbed, probably like 2 times longer than the car that's going to be pulling it. And immediately we knew that this is going to be a traffic concern. This is going to be an issue. And we're driving for like 12 hours to this place where we're shooting from. Wow. So immediately we know that we are going to get stopped a million times. Thank God we were shooting a film that involved guns, so we had some policemen. But still, the policemen were like, "What? Why didn't you tell us that you're driving a crazy-looking car?" Now they had to sit. Everyone had to sit in that car so that they can explain to other policemen. And because of that chaos, we pretty much ended up forgetting most of the props that we're supposed to use. And we got there, and on the day of the shoot, we realized that we only had 1 gun instead of 2, which is why when you're watching the movie, the policeman shows the gun, that he has a gun. He shows, and it's in the glove compartment, which is unusual because you would want to have it on yourself. You wouldn't want it to be closer to the person that you're driving. But we had to do that because we needed to shoot, and we didn't have a gun. So he just had to open the glove compartment, and then I would put the gun there later. So that was quite something. But then there's most things, like the DOP guy that was supposed to shoot the film broke his back like on the very first day,
On your
while lifting something. Yeah, while lifting something heavy, he broke his back. So then I had to like shoot.
Wow.
while producing, while directing, while checking for continuity, while doing all these things. The guy that was recording our sound, he ended up not being able to breathe because he had asthma, and we were not aware of this. What else? There's so many things that happened. That some I've just chosen to forget.
Wow. And how did you deal with all of that? I mean, because I feel like after the whole shoot was done, like you just need some time to just go away and detox or something.
After the shoot, there was no such time for me. I just had to go and shoot a lot of commercials because I had pretty much used up all the money that I had in my life, and I had nothing left. So yeah, so I had to go straight back into business and just work.
I get that. Now, finally, how did you get the distribution deal with Netflix? Because I mean, I know that in Nigeria, for instance, they have distributors that they work with, and then filmmakers have to go through those distributors. But for you, I mean, I believe your film was the first Ugandan film on Netflix. I mean, so how did that happen?
I think there's a bit of luck in there because when I finished the film, I was extremely unhappy with how it came out, and I had plans of never releasing it, but I had released the trailer before, and this trailer kind of went viral-ish around. I mean, in East Africa. And the trailer looks quite good. I think when you watch the trailer, you might think that, oh, this might actually be a good film. So I guess someone saw the trailer and it was getting a lot of attention, and I think they thought to themselves that, oh, maybe this is a really interesting and professional film. So someone reached out to me and told me, oh, can you send that through and I check it out? Which I did gladly, but again, I did that, and I had to even give them a disclaimer. And I was like, the trailer looks good, but the film might actually be trash. I actually wrote that in the email, and yeah, they saw it and they're like, yeah, so if you have a local distributor that you're working with, I didn't know any. They put me in contact with someone that they previously worked with. And yeah, that's how it all happened. I until I saw the film on Netflix, I didn't believe that they would actually take it.
Wow. So it was Netflix who reached out to you directly after seeing the trailer, right?
Yeah, someone at Netflix that reached out and then put me in contact with the distribution guys that I work with now.
Amazing. I mean, that was a massive stroke of luck. Wonderful. That was really nice.
Yeah. That's just a lot of luck.
Yeah. Okay, so before I let you go, we're going to play. We're going to do I've forgotten what I call it. Can you imagine? Yeah, a rapid fire round. So I'm going to say one word, and you tell me the first thing that comes to your mind. Ready?
Okay.
Best movie ever.
Pulp Fiction.
Best screenplay.
Inglourious Basterds.
I see you're a Tarantino fan.
Yeah.
Netflix.
Opportunities for Africans, I guess.
Well, that was more than one word, but okay. YouTube.
Censorship.
TV versus film.
I just love film. I think TV is getting better than film now, but I don't know. I just love film.
Okay, last one. Uganda.
I think it's just a love-hate relationship.
Okay.
Sometimes I love it, sometimes I don't. Kind of a mixed bag.
If you haven't watched a Loukman Ali film, I highly recommend that you do. I'll leave links in the description. I really do think Loukman will be one of the most prominent African filmmakers of our generation. Thank you for listening. And before you go, please take a screenshot of this podcast, share it on social media, share with your friends and family who are filmmakers or aspiring filmmakers. Please subscribe so you never miss an episode. And I hope to see you on Instagram. Our handle is @theafricanfilmmaker. Tweet at me or send me a DM. My Twitter handle is @IamKorede and my Instagram handle is @Korede, spelled KORAYDAY. And of course, keep listening if you'd like to do some more eavesdropping. And actually, I recorded this episode in March before Loukman came to shoot Brotherhood, just for some context. And I almost forgot, when I come into Nigeria.
I should be in Nigeria next month.
Yeah. And how long will you be staying? Are you just coming to work, or you're going to, have some fun as well, spend some time?
Well, from what I'm seeing with Nigeria's oil lack of petrol, I don't think I'll be having any fun, but I'm supposed to be doing some work.
Okay. No wahala. Enjoy your time anyway. When you get here, make sure to try all the amazing food. Egusi, jollof rice, and suya, at least.
Yeah, definitely. I'm definitely going to look for that stuff.